그리고 한 회가 끝나면 그 다음 회가 계속 이렇게 너무너무 궁금해지기 때문에 이 대본으로
Lovely viewers,
작품을 나중에
welcome back to another
만들면
emotional and gripping moment in
시청자분들이
the world of Korean entertainment,
다음 회가 너무 보고
where stories
싶어서
of love, heartbreak, reconciliation, and forgiveness feel more dramatic than the biggest K-drama you've ever seen. Today's revelation is one that has taken fans completely by surprise. Hye Kyo has reportedly confessed her private conversation with Joong Ki, and in the middle of it all, she is seen begging Lee Min-ho's forgiveness. This is a story layered with emotion, tension, and humanity, and together we are going to unpack every angle, every whisper, and every possibility. So grab your thoughts, open your hearts, and let's explore this as if we're all sitting together in one big room, reliving this roller coaster in real time. Picture this. Hye Kyo, who has been known for her grace, her poise, and her ability to keep her private life hidden, suddenly finds herself at the center of whispers once again. Only this time, it's not just about her and Joong Ki meeting in secrecy. It's about what she admitted afterward. According to reports swirling around, Hye Kyo opened up about what was discussed privately between her and her former husband, and the truth is something no one was expecting. She confessed that their conversation stirred emotions she had buried deep inside. Emotions tied to the memories of their marriage, their breakup, and the life they once shared. Now, lovely viewers, let's take a moment to imagine that private moment between her and Joong Ki. No cameras, no reporters, no fans. Just two people with an undeniable history. What do you think she said? Did she apologize for the past? Did she thank him for the years they had, despite the pain of their separation? Did she ask him questions that had been left unanswered for so long? The idea of Hye Kyo, usually so composed in public, lowering her guard in front of someone who once knew her better than anyone else is powerful. It makes you wonder just how much emotion was carried in her voice and whether Joong Ki, in that moment, was reminded of the love they once had. But here's where the story turns even more dramatic. While she admitted to this conversation, Hye Kyo is also reported to have turned to Lee Min-ho, the man who has brought new love into her life, and begged for his forgiveness. Can you feel the weight of that, lovely audience? On one side, there is the shadow of her past with Joong Ki, a relationship that once defined her life and career in the public eye. On the other side, there is Lee Min-ho, her present and possibly her future, who has stood by her despite the rumors, the scrutiny, and the relentless spotlight. How do you balance a past that still tugs at your heart with a present that promises love and stability? This is not just about a celebrity confession, it's about being human. Haven't we all had moments when our past collides with our present? Haven't we all wondered whether revisiting old memories would hurt the ones who stand beside us now? That is the very situation Hye Kyo finds herself in, and her vulnerability in admitting it makes her more relatable than ever before. Now let's interact, my lovely audience. If you were in Lee Min-ho's shoes, how would you react to such a confession? Would you feel hurt, betrayed, or threatened by the idea that your partner still carries emotions tied to their ex? Or would you see it as a moment of honesty, proof that she trusts you enough to share her raw truth even if it stings? Forgiveness is never easy, but in relationships, it is often the most powerful proof of love. And what about Joong Ki in all this? Imagine being him, sitting across from someone you once married, listening to words that stir up old feelings. Do you think he felt a pang of nostalgia? Do you think he regretted the choices that led them apart? Or do you think he simply wanted to offer closure, knowing that both of them deserve peace? The fact that Hye Kyo admitted to such an emotional conversation shows that it was not a trivial encounter. It was something that touched her deeply, enough that she needed to share it with Lee Min-ho, even at the risk of causing pain. The public reaction, of course, has been explosive. Fans of the Song couple are buzzing with renewed hope, believing this could be a sign of lingering affection between the two. At the same time, supporters of Hye Kyo and Lee Min-ho are fiercely protective, rallying behind him and urging people not to misinterpret her honesty as disloyalty. The debate is fiery. Should she have kept the conversation private, or was she right to bare her soul and seek forgiveness? Which side do you find yourself on, lovely viewers? Think for a moment about Lee Min-ho's position. as one of the most beloved actors in Asia, he is constantly under the microscope. His relationship with Song Hye Kyo has been celebrated but also scrutinized by fans who either adore their pairing or secretly wish she would reunite with her ex. For him to hear her confess details of a conversation with Joong Ki must have been a test of his strength and his love. But isn't it also a testament to the depth of their bond if he chooses to forgive and move forward? That act alone would show the world that their relationship is built not just on romance but on trust and resilience. Lovely audience, let's imagine a scene together. Song Hye Kyo, her eyes heavy with emotion, turning to Lee Min-ho and saying, "Please forgive me for this. I needed to confront my past, but you are my present. My heart now belongs to you." Can you feel the intensity of those words? Can you picture the silence that would follow? The way Lee Min-ho would look at her, weighing the pain against the love he feels? That's the kind of moment that defines a relationship, whether it crumbles under the weight of confession or grows stronger through forgiveness. And here's something to reflect on. Maybe forgiveness in this case is not just about the past but about the future. By forgiving her, Lee Min-ho isn't just healing her guilt. He is also building a foundation for a relationship that can withstand storms. Because if love is only easy when things are perfect, then it's not real love. Real love is tested in moments like this, when vulnerability and honesty threaten to shake the bond, but forgiveness has the power to cement it even more deeply. As fans, we can't know the full truth of what was said in that private conversation. But what we do know is this. Song Hye Kyo's willingness to confess it and to ask for forgiveness shows that she values her relationship with Lee Min-ho enough to risk everything by being honest. That alone speaks volumes. And whether you're rooting for her and Lee Min-ho, or secretly wishing she and Joong Ki might find their way back to each other, this moment proves that the Song story is still alive in people's hearts, even as a new love story is being written. Lovely viewers, now I turn it over to you. Do you believe Song Hye Kyo's confession was an act of love and honesty? Or do you think it opens dangerous wounds that could threaten her present relationship? If you were Lee Min-ho, would you forgive, or would you struggle to move past it? And what about Joong Ki? Do you think he too walks away from this meeting with his own emotions reignited? One thing is certain. This revelation has shaken the entertainment world, but more importantly, it has reminded us that even the brightest stars live very human stories of love, regret, and the search for forgiveness. And as this unfolds, we, their fans, will continue to watch, to wonder, and to feel every beat of this ongoing drama together. Song Hye Kyo's confession of her private conversation with Joong Ki, followed by her heartfelt plea for Lee Min-ho's forgiveness, is not just a headline. It's an emotional saga that intertwines love, regret, vulnerability, and the test of loyalty. Where does this leave everyone involved? And what does it mean for the future? That's exactly what we're going to continue exploring together. Let's step back into that moment, lovely audience. Imagine the weight in Song Hye Kyo's heart as she confessed everything to Lee Min-ho. Her decision to share it wasn't impulsive. It must have taken courage. Many in her position would have chosen silence, keeping the details hidden out of fear. But she didn't. She chose transparency, even though she knew the risk. Doesn't that say something about the love she feels for Lee Min-ho? She would rather hurt him with honesty than comfort him with lies. That kind of honesty is rare, and though it may sting in the moment, it can be the very thing that deepens trust. But how do you think Lee Min-ho felt, hearing the name of Joong Ki from her lips, not in the context of gossip but in the intimacy of a private confession? My lovely viewers, let's imagine him sitting there quietly, his mind spinning as he weighs her words. On one hand, there's the ache of knowing she still carries fragments of her past. On the other hand, there's the proof of her devotion, because she came to him openly, choosing him over secrecy. That balance between hurt and hope must have been heavy, but perhaps it also revealed to him the depth of their bond. Now, let's not forget Joong Ki in this tangled triangle. Whether he intended it or not, his private conversation with Song Hye Kyo stirred echoes of the past that still ripple through her life today. Imagine him leaving that meeting, walking out into the night, wondering if he had just reopened wounds or helped heal them. Did he feel guilt for reigniting emotions she thought she had buried? Did he feel a flicker of longing himself? Or did he walk away determined to close the chapter forever? These are questions only he can answer. But for us as fans, it's enough to know that his presence continues to shape her story, even indirectly. Lovely audience, let's pause for some interaction here. If you were Joong Ki in this situation, what would you do? Would you reach out to clarify your intentions, to ensure that your past love does not harm her present happiness? Or would you step back, allowing her the space to navigate her emotions with Lee Min-ho? Think about it, sometimes silence can be as powerful as words. And then, of course, we must consider the fans. The internet is ablaze with speculation, divided into camps that passionately defend their favorites. Some fans cheer Hye Kyo's honesty, praising her for being brave enough to face her past and share it with her present partner. Others, however, criticize her, questioning whether revisiting old conversations risks undermining the trust she's building with Lee Min-ho. And then there are those who remain firmly in the Song camp, interpreting her confession as proof that the bond with Joong Ki is still alive. The debates are endless, and they show just how deeply invested the world remains in her story. Now let's bring it closer to the human heart. Imagine Hye Kyo alone after that confession, lying awake at night, replaying Lee Min-ho's expression in her mind. Did he believe her when she said her heart belongs to him now? Did he forgive her in that moment? Or is forgiveness a process that will take time? Her vulnerability doesn't end with her confession. It lingers afterward, in the quiet moments when doubt creeps in. That's the reality of love. It's not just about grand gestures, but about the little reassurances that follow when trust is tested. Lovely viewers, let's dream together for a moment. What if this entire storm becomes the very thing that strengthens her relationship with Lee Min-ho? Imagine him taking her hand, looking into her eyes and saying, "I love you enough to accept your past. What matters is the future we're building." Wouldn't that be a scene more powerful than any drama script? And can you picture the relief on her face? The way her heart would feel lighter knowing she doesn't have to carry her past like a secret burden anymore? But here's the twist. What if the opposite happens? What if the weight of her confession becomes too much for Lee Min-ho to bear? What if doubts creep in whenever he thinks about her and Joong Ki? That kind of strain can eat away at even the strongest bonds, and it could lead to cracks that fans fear to even imagine. This uncertainty is what makes the story so gripping, because we don't yet know which way the scale will tip. And beyond the relationships themselves, let's talk about what this means in the larger picture. For the entertainment industry, this saga has become a phenomenon. Every article, every rumor, every fan theory keeps the spotlight fixed on these three stars, reminding us that their personal lives carry as much drama as the roles they play on screen. But for them, as individuals, it's not just a spectacle, it's their reality. And that reality is raw, complicated, and deeply human. Lovely audience, let me turn it over to you again. Do you believe that love can survive when the past resurfaces like this? Or do you think some memories are too powerful to coexist with the present? And if you were in Hye Kyo's place, would you have confessed? Or would you have kept that private conversation hidden to protect your partner's feelings? Your answers to these questions are what keep this dialogue alive. And they remind us that even though we're outsiders looking in, we all understand the emotions at play. So where does this leave us now? With a story that is still unfinished. Hye Kyo's confession has opened doors that can't be closed, and the choices that she, Lee Min-ho, and Joong Ki make in the coming days will determine how this chapter ends. Will forgiveness triumph over doubt? Will closure finally be found? Or will this be the beginning of a new storm in their lives? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. We, the fans, will be watching every step of the way, feeling every heartbeat as if it were our own. Hye Kyo's confession, Lee Min-ho's silence, and the shadow of Joong Ki's lingering presence. It's like the cliffhanger of a drama, but one that's playing out in real life, leaving us all on the edge of our seats. We've reached a point where every small gesture, every word left unsaid, and every public sighting takes on a whole new weight. It's no longer just about what happened in that private conversation, it's about how the world around them reacts, and how they, as individuals, choose to move forward. Imagine, lovely audience, Lee Min-ho scrolling through headlines the day after the confession leaks. Each article speculating on what Song Hye Kyo said to Song Joong Ki. Each comment section buzzing with divided opinions. How heavy must it feel for him to see strangers debating whether his relationship can withstand the truth? Yet, at the same time, it's also a test of his own heart. Does he allow public chatter to cloud his judgment? Or does he listen to the woman in front of him who was brave enough to open up? That's the real test of trust. Not what the world thinks, but what his heart decides. And then there's Song Hye Kyo herself. After pouring out her confession, she's left standing at a crossroads. She can either retreat into silence, waiting to see how Lee Min-ho processes everything, or she can step further into vulnerability, continuing to reassure him with words and actions. Picture her sending him a quiet message late at night. I need you to know that my love for you is my present and my future. Can you feel the sincerity in those words? Sometimes, after all, love is less about a grand speech and more about consistent whispers of reassurance. Lovely viewers, let's turn the lens back on Song Joong Ki for a moment. Even though he's not directly in this relationship anymore, his role in this saga cannot be ignored. Imagine him reading the news that his private conversation with Song Hye Kyo has caused waves in her relationship with Lee Min-ho. Does he feel regret, wishing he'd never reached out at all? Or does he feel justified, as though he had unfinished business to resolve? Some fans argue that he should step forward and clarify his intentions, perhaps through a simple statement to the media, while others believe silence is the wiser path, leaving Hye Kyo to rebuild her present without interference. But whichever choice he makes, it will ripple across the lives of everyone involved. Now let's engage together, my lovely audience. If you were Lee Min-ho, would you want Song Joong Ki to publicly clarify his side of the story? Or would you prefer he remained silent so you could handle things privately with Hye Kyo? Think about it carefully. Sometimes closure comes from outside voices, but sometimes it's something you can only create between two people. And how about the fans? Social media has become a battlefield of emotions. Some are calling for everyone to respect their privacy, saying love cannot blossom under constant scrutiny. Others are convinced that the saga is far from over, pointing out every subtle gesture, every look exchanged at public events, every Instagram post that might hide a deeper meaning. Isn't it fascinating how invested people can become in the love lives of those they admire? It's as though fans see their own hopes and fears reflected in the choices of these stars. But beyond all the noise, let's go deeper into the heart of this story. Song Hye Kyo's confession is not just about a conversation with her ex. It's about her courage to be truthful in love. She didn't want secrets between herself and Lee Min-ho, even if the truth risked hurting him. That's the kind of love that demands bravery. And Lee Min-ho's reaction, whether gentle forgiveness or guarded hesitation, will define the next chapter of their journey. Because let's face it, forgiveness is never easy. It's a choice, and one that requires strength. Lovely viewers, let's imagine two paths. In one, Lee Min-ho embraces her, telling her that her honesty only makes his love stronger. Can you picture that relief flooding through her, the tears of gratitude she might shed, knowing she doesn't have to carry the weight of the past alone? In the other path, though, he grows distant, his mind clouded with doubts, replaying her words until they create cracks of uncertainty. Which path do you think he'll choose? And which one do you hope he chooses? Now, here's another angle to consider: the impact on their careers. These three stars are not just ordinary people. They're icons with millions of fans watching every move. Their personal struggles inevitably bleed into their professional lives. Producers, directors, and brands are surely watching too, wondering if public sympathy will sway one way or another. This confession, though deeply personal, has become a public event, and its effects might shape opportunities, endorsements, and even casting choices. Isn't it astonishing how intertwined fame and love can become? So, my lovely audience, here's the big question. Do you believe Song Hye Kyo's confession will ultimately draw her and Lee Min-ho closer together, building a bond rooted in truth and vulnerability? Or do you fear it may drive a wedge between them, one that Song Joong Ki's presence only deepens? Your thoughts matter because this story is not just theirs. It's one that resonates with all of us who have ever wrestled with love, trust, and the weight of our past. And with this, the story remains wide open. Forgiveness, doubt, love, and lingering memories continue to weave a web around these three stars. We don't yet know the ending, but isn't that what keeps us hooked? The mystery of what comes next, and the hope that love in its purest form will prevail.